One of the boxers on the very long table at the Commonwealth was George Groves. He's done a promotional deal with Frank Warren. Now, well, anyway, that was the, to be honest with you, that was an odd old thing, came out of the blue. Now, George was at the O2 for the first time since enjoying a sweet victory over his nemesis, James DeGale. I asked him what it was like walking back through the doors again. Here's St George Groves of Hammersmith.
It was very surreal. It was the last time I've been here since the fight, but it was very nice, warm memories.
That night, everything went right. You boxed brilliantly. Crowd loved it. Obviously, you got another win over James. But since then, you've done a deal with the guy that had been promoting James. That was a bit strange, wasn't it? Or did it just make business sense?
Yeah, it's strange on the outside, people looking in, but it was the right move for me at the time. For the last few years, I've sort of bounced around, boxed on plenty of different shows, Golden Boy, Matchroom, Maloney, Haymaker shows, even Sowland shows. So it was about time that I actually settled down. I was enough of a young scallywag flying around everyone's shows us to settle down with Frank Warren, and we done a deal. It was a bit nerve-wracking because it's the first deal I've done since signing with Haymaker, but I've got the full support of Adam and David. We talked it out, and there was a few offers out there, and we decided this is the best one. So it's exciting times.
So the British title fight coming up against Paul Smith. If you look at it, what are you thinking? 2 or 3 more fights and then a world title fight, or would you, in your head, be ready for, say the winner of Kessler and Stieglitz early next year? In your head, you're a sensible boy, George. But in an ideal world, let's talk ideal world. What would you like?
Being realistic, I only want to fight for world titles when the time comes when I'm ready to beat anyone in the world, not just to beat a faded champion or weak champion. Not saying that Kessler is, because I'm pretty sure he's going to show up and look the business.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm about. But boxing's boxing. It doesn't run perfectly. You can't have a game plan because things chop and change. Sometimes you have to take fights you don't want to take. Sometimes the fights that you think are never going to be there show up to be there. But for me, it's about improving as a fighter so that when I do get to the top, I stay at the top. I can beat anyone in the world. And hand on my heart, I know I'm not there yet. And hand on my heart, I don't know how long it will take, but I do know I have the potential to get there, and I'm working to get there as fast as possible. I'm in preparations to fight Paul Smith November 5th. That's another great fight for me. People look
That's at Wembley, isn't it?
At Wembley, yeah.
Close, your area.
Exactly, yeah. So it's nice for the fans. They think I've retired since the last fight. I haven't seen much of me, but they'll be rewarded with a good fight, domestic dust-up in London. And on the outside, people say, it's a step back. You've just bashed up the guy who annihilated him last year. But Paul Smith's a good fighter. He's going to ask questions of me, and those questions need to be answered. And in the process of answering those questions, I'm going to become a better fighter. And then when I get to the highest level, I'm not going to be a one-trick pony. I'm going to have more strings to my bow. I'm going to be, not a one-dimensional fighter. So It doesn't matter who I get in with, I'll be able to have an answer for him.
Now, I know you probably wish you had a tenner for every time someone's asked you this, but what about a James DeGale rematch?
Well, that's what I'm adding them up, Steve, and I'm hoping that's what Frank's going to pay me.
That's what I'm telling you. Listen, I know you must have a lot of money, because I've probably been asked it 3,000 times since it happened. So what about a James DeGale rematch?
Well, that's something that we said to Frank, that we're not interested in an immediate James DeGale rematch. As I say, I want to get to the top, and that means I've got to fight different people, not just gangly, awkward southpaws, because otherwise when I get to the top, I'm only going to be able to beat one fella. So from my perspective, it's about improving. When the fight's ready to go again, we'll have it again. We got Frank both signed with Frank Warren, so it makes the fight a little bit more easy to make. When the time is right, when the fans demand it, that's when it will happen. Last time the fans were demanding it, and it happened, and it was a great success. Last time, I made sure it was pretty even so that we can go again. I beat him up mentally, but if he wants it again, I'm going to beat him up physically, Steve, and that's a totally different ball game, and I think that's what's going to really upset him. So he doesn't want it yet. Let him win his European title. If he can defend it, maybe he can move on from there. Because I'm not in no rush. I'm not playing I'm not in a race against James DeGale. It's my own path. It's been my own path from the start. No doubt our paths will cross again. But when they do, it's going to be one more outcome.
So that was George Groves there talking to me today, very openly and very honestly. George defends his British and Commonwealth Super-Middleweight titles against Paul Smith at Wembley Arena on November the 5th, the same night that Ricky Burns fights Michael Katsidis for the WBO's interim lightweight title. Michael Katsidis being the guy that beat Kevin Mitchell last May at Upton Park, which was a big old night. And that fight, Smith against Groves, Burns against Katsidis, will be on Box Nation. Anyway.